Hey guys, Peter, g'day. Stuart, hello. Mark, hello. John Creasy, good afternoon. Good evening down your way. Oh my gosh, Bill Baggins, g'day. $624 Dudley, hello. Thanks for the comment on my video too. Appreciate that. Anyone else did do? John Creasy did. Who else did? Max. Steam Train Mark did, I think. Anyway. Have a video. It's a bad video. Like, it's not a very good video. Audio is terrible. Darren Radcliffe, g'day. Should have probably shot it on my phone rather than my GoPro, because I'm getting a bit sick of the GoPro, to be honest. It's not really doing what it should do some of the time. And it's all a bit all over the place. And my video editing skills are not good, because I can't afford decent video editing software, and nobody can, because decent video software, editing software has gone through the roof, because they're greedy suckers. Anyway, audio was not a highlight at all. No, the audio was terrible. And I apologise for that. Anyway, it wasn't a good video, but you did get a video, because if I hadn't posted it up and not done too much editing and got it up, it wouldn't have happened. Simple as that. DaVinci Resolve is awesome. I might try it. I've got Movie Studio 17 or something like that, which is probably all right if you if you learn to use it, but I'm not a big fan, to be honest. Anyway, bad audio. GoPro didn't work. We'll see what happens. But it gives you some idea what all the big brass castings are, how they all went together. So everyone's seen that, I imagine. So we don't need to talk about this. Moving on. Anything is better than iMovie. Fair enough. But good to hear, Bill. We're all waiting for progress reports. There's this, right? We're not talking about this. I'm actually going to run this across to my mate down the road and get him to tack this on here tonight. We will talk about it a little bit. That's the next job, is to put this on here nice and square. And then we can chuck that on here and machine this up to size. This is down to size. This needs quite a bit off it. 5 mil, more than expected, to be honest. Yeah, we could probably machine it off the bottom here, but then the feet become too small. And if we took it off here, what we find is that while this gets lower and we can use more of this width for the thread, I can have a look at the drawing before I take it down there, but I think we're just going to tack that on there and machine that much off, whatever it comes to, clean it up, because I think the actual line should be down here somewhere. Hey Mark. So that's the next job. Take this on here, I'll pick this up and then this weekend I might get that machined. Took that out. That's down the size of the pipe thread. And that's as far as I got. This is a fairly difficult thing to set up. So I'm probably going to hold it this way around in the four jaw and set it up nice and true. Machine all this to fit the bottom there and bore it. Anyway, there we go, Peter. That's sorted. Trouble is with making videos, you run out of other things to talk about on live stream. That's the problem. So, that's that. Got both of these out on the weekend. This is another job I did. These seats, they're pretty well worn. They shouldn't have that burr on there. And yeah, they're sort of a bit of a mess, to be honest. That one is because it took some getting out. End up putting a nut on there and made a special spanner. It's not actually that one, but the other end of that spanner machine down to about that thickness to go in the hole under there and put a bolt down through the top of the plate over it and pulled this out quite easily then. So this is out. They're both identical, which I wasn't sure about because on some pumps they're not, but they are both identical. I've done some CAD work and I've printed one. So I've got basically a drawing of how it should look and how it should be so that the bits don't. Lunch is still important. It's still important that everyone in the neighbourhood knows that you're having lunch. That's where we're at with that bill. So this is a full-size one of these. This is quite badly worn if we have a look. We'll put that light on. Don't know if that helps. But if we put this one in here, you'd probably get away with just new seats and machine the valves up. But looking at this is quite a bit thicker here. And they're the right diameter here, and they're the right curve in here, I think. And then I've worked out the curves in the top and put that in there like that. And I've sorted all these out and section viewed it so that there's no interruption or interference or anything, and cast and printed them. So they're quite nice. They sit down very nicely. I don't know if these need to be a tight fit in the body. Because whoever's following this probably hasn't got a clue what we're talking about. But this is the elbow. That's what that is. This has got a pin to stop it lifting and 4 holes that come through to this top here. The other one is identical part, pretty much identical. See, without the tap, except it hasn't got the 4 holes. Got thread in the top, all that stuff to match. So that basically stops it picking up any more than it's got to. It's only got about 2.5mm lift on this. If we look in here, this has got a hole in it. And this bolt, which isn't the bolt, This bolt, which actually is probably the original bolt, the retaining stud, it's got that piece on the end. Which, if we'd measured it, probably should locate in that hole. So basically that goes in with that aligned, like so, down in the bottom, like so. This goes in afterwards to line it up. I don't know how tight that wants to be. I really don't understand how tight it's got to be. I guess it's got to be a good fit. If anyone's got thoughts on that, going to leak a bit if it's loose, but probably a bit of Palmer's jointing or something on it to stop it if it was. Don't know. Anyway, it goes in there. This goes in here. Not in plastic, of course. Wants to be a good slide and fit. I think I don't want it wants to be loose. Probably make it slide and fit and put in with some stag or something. BJ or whatever. And then the screws down on top. Probably still buy stag, can you? It's not very nice stuff, but it's probably what it should have in it. Probably won't buy any. I'll probably go and find a tin of it somewhere when I'm assembling it. Now, that I've measured it. I've sorted all that out. It's got 2.5mm lift, something like that, which is what the basically about what the drawing says it should have. 332. So that's that. This valve is a bit ordinary. Fight against this valve. If you're building steam engines, this valve is pretty ordinary, because this is the prime and tap. Probably if we did the seats, it wouldn't need to use it every time you use the pump. But this sits right below the steering wheel, so every time you open this, you get wet. If the engine's going at any great rate, it shoots water basically up your shirt. So this should have a tap that points out that way with a. That's what it should have. Probably it's got a tap on the front, and it points that way. So that'd be really nice, but we need to make we probably should make a tap, but it hasn't happened yet. If anyone's got an original tap we could look at, that'd be fantastic, but I haven't. So, these bits need to be made out of good strong bronze, according to the drawing. That's the actual word. The drawing says good strong bronze, so that's what we're going to use. Whether I cast them up or cast a bit of stuff and then machine it, which is probably the cheapest option, or whether I go and find a bit of PB1 or something off the shelf somewhere, which is going to be fairly expensive, 1.5 inches, or wants to be bigger than 1.5 inches, 1.75 and machine it to fit. I don't know. But probably these could just be machined with a form tool for this, which is the radius on here, and form tools for this, maybe. probably machine this and then grip it by here, which is parallel, and a collet, and machine the inside face maybe. Don't know. Sounds like I'm messing around. So that's another job that we're sort of working on. I think they fit pretty nice. That's how it should look. Bit of a job. Right on our mobile phone again this time. So another thing that I've discovered, which is much to my interest, is that the Trades Guild has a sandblasting machine, which I didn't know before, and no one uses it because obviously no one else knows it's there either. So I'm going to take this up at some point and get it sandblasted and cleaned up and get a coat of paint on it then, that and this. So that's where we're at with that. Alright, that's it. That's all I've got. I've got nothing else because we made a video. Can't have both. Yeah, I don't know. What other exciting things have happened? Not very much actually this weekend. Sunday I did some study because I've got to catch up with that for boiler course and I'm way behind, so did some of that. It wants a good clean up and paint. I could just paint strip it and clean it up, but sandblasting a bit better. Got to make 2 flanges for the bottom of this because the 2 that are on it are very ugly. This one and this one, and measure them, draw them up and make those to go on the pipe, and then just thread it on the pipe. So you got to make them. I think this flange is probably pretty good for now. Yeah, but before the roller steam ball again, we've got to fix this. So 2 of these are going to be happening in fairly short order. I think everyone saw this pattern. Anyone watched the video, you did. Pretty happy with that. That went together really nice. Gave us a really nice, pretty nice casting. I gave it a bit of a file up tonight. Still got a sand line there where the parting line was, but the rest of it's really nice. And if we weld it on, then we can take a bit off here. I misread the drawings and I made all this about 5mm, 8mm or something too long. What I didn't do was allow for this bit on here, I think. So I ended up, that didn't need to be anywhere near as long as it did, so I trimmed that down to size now. In full disclosure. And this is actually pretty, you put a ruler across there. Probably have a ruler. Don't know where. There's a ruler. Put a ruler across there and it's there, see. So really that needs to be 10mm. This centre spigot needs to be 10mm lower than that. So it needs a bit off it, but once you get through this and get through the top, it won't take a lot to clean it up. And drill a big hole in the middle of it and tap it, and that'll help a bit too. So these are good castings. This one we've done a couple of times before and not really got results. So we've got the pattern for that helps. This one I've moulded twice and got no results either because it's parallel and there's a bit of a challenge to get him out. He's not perfect. There was a bit of sand wash out here. But this is still a bit oversized, so once we get it welded up, we might run a skim off the sides because it still have 0.5 millimetre off it, and I think it'll clean up. I think it will. Looking at this rotten, stupid rule of this. This still needs, I think, about 1/8 of an inch out of it here. So that'll clean up too, top and bottom. And that'll definitely clean up. This needs a thread on it and it needs boring out to 1 5/8 inch, and that'll clean up too. I've already checked that. So I need to put a thread on there, bore it out. But before we put a thread in it, I think I'm going to chuck this up nice and square, face all this to fit this flange, right? So that I think we're just going to weld this around the outside. I'm not sure. Seals on this part here, so really wants to seal around here. I'm still thinking about this stuff. My thought here, and I just had this thought process, is if we leave that till later to weld that in, after we've welded and machined that, it's going to take a pretty good TIG operator to get in there and weld that. But if it sticks up a bit, probably we can do it. Anyway, this thought process is happening here all the time. Every time I look at this, I think there's something else. So sorry guys to get that all out. This needs a groove machine in here for the cylinder, for the lever, and a pinhole through here, and there's a hole through this side here for a nut, which stops the spool, the bobbin falling out and down the pipe if the pin comes out here, basically, I think. And stops it gives you some sort of a gives you a stop this way too with the bobbin, the valve bobbin. So I think this is going to be welded on at 45 degrees, something like that. There you go. And this goes on here like this. This goes on here like this. And that's basically what it looks like. So pretty happy with that. It's coming together. I've said that before, but bit of a job. Mark, no Santec, but I've got a decent big turret, like a big proper tool room mill out there. So that's milling, it's easy. I've got a decent mill. You've just got to be careful in order operations, that's right. I think probably, this is probably completely foolhardy. But I'd like to think maybe if we put this in a vise, we could thread this 1.75" pipe thread, or someone's got a pipe threading machine, maybe we could do it that way, don't know. Wouldn't like to stuff the thread up at this late point, but I'd like to do it. You could probably do it on the flange or on the body, I'm not sure. There's some things to work out, but I think I'm going to weld that piece on there and machine that and see how we go. I think I've got an 1.1/8" Whitworth tap. No, 1.1/8" UNF, that'll be about right. It's probably a bit fine, but we're going to tap the middle of that 1.1/8" UNF. I think I've got a tap for that. And then this piece, a huge big rod goes through here. And this piece, only nearly twice as big, sits on top. So that's going to be the fun bit, everyone said. And yes, it will. But Mark showed me some drawings. And the one Mark has, he showed me some photos, the one Mark has is joined here, which is interesting. Which means a couple of things, right? A couple of good things, actually. One is that the cores that sit in here don't need to be snug around the outside here to destroy this edge, right? We can use this edge here, sit that edge down on the baseboard when we ram in the sand. Two, we don't need a core in this middle one because it's hollow up middle. We don't need a closed core that's hard to wash out because we've got this piece in the bottom here with a cap on the top, and this piece in the top has got a cap on this end. So we've got an open core here that makes it a lot easier to get the sand out of and a lot easier to machine. So most whistles that you see haven't got this nice piece here that looks good. They're just round here like this, or they're just sort of cut off, or they're dressed down with a grinder or whatever. And that, I think, is because they join up here. So you'll see all this in another video probably, but this is my thought process. The video will be about making it, but this is my thought process about actually casting it. I think we make 5 separate cores, maybe, and 5 impressions on the bottom here. On the 5 impressions on the core box, or 5 impressions on the bottom in this part, in the bottom half of the flask. The top half we can put this. The bottom half we leave 5 impressions for the standard cores in, and then standard cores in, six cores because there's one in the middle, and mould this into the sand and then drop that over the top of it. And with any luck and a very good downwind, we should get this piece cast fairly straightforward. The lowest core is about 4 inches, something like that, and the tallest one is 11 or 12 inches, so 300 mil and 100 mil or something for this one. And that way, if we can get a casting that's this nice, which is sort of the end game, and get something this nice inside, then it's probably going to be a really good casting. And then I'll just get my mate to dig this up, the 2 pieces together. We cast this in a separate piece, fit it together, tack it up on the corners. These flutes here, we could probably cast. Makes it a little bit difficult to get out without breaking things off. We could leave them off, or we could cut some plates on the outside and tack on it. I don't know. Thinking about that. Anyway, you didn't really come to listen to me waffle on about a whistle. You've already spent way too much time listening to bad audio about it on video. But having said that, I haven't got a lot else to talk about. Well, the progress is that. Any painting? None at all. There you go, that's really slack. I've got to get in and finish this, and I was going to do quite a bit to it. This one's sort of looking pretty good. It's ready for a coat of varnish nearly. But this one I've got to get in and sketch up at least before. If I got in sketched up and some sort of a thought process about what I want on here, it wouldn't take much to finish it. Just not real sure. Not real sure. This one here is still olive green. Tricky sign, this one. The layout on that's a bit tricky. And you need a nice wind-free day to run some chalk lines on it, on trestles outside. So, hasn't happened, because we haven't had many of those. We did have one on Tuesday, but I went up the foundry. No excuses. As soon as you all asked about it, don't know, this is poor dirty lathe. It had a bit of a vacuum up last night after having a mountain of brass on it. No patterns forthcoming or parts for this. Adam hasn't been forthcoming with this, but he's working for a living, which is a bit rough, but that's how it is. I've got a light there that's 12 volt, and I'd like to set up a wall walk to hook into it so that it actually works. Hasn't happened yet. It's another job. This has been machined in brass, 6-inch diameter, so there's a bit of belt stick on the belts. Hence that tin there. I like this stuff. I think this is pretty good. Good stuff. So, poor thing's had a hard life this week. Something in the oil or wherever it is or whatever it is, I'm not sure. It's a bit of a mystery, but paint's coming off the base here. So the base and the headstock and everything's a bit scratchy anyway, and I've got a tin of paint there. If I was really feeling like it, I could strip it back and paint it, but I don't know if I'm really feeling like it. We'll see how we go. All my spare time, because there isn't any at the moment. No progress on that either, really. Got some bits, but that's about it. Nothing else much happened. I could probably get in a machine them too, but not feeling it. That's it. That's it. Anyway. Need to put all this stuff in this cabinet. It's not really the answer. There's a sander there and there's brush oil. These are things that have real homes and they just never got there. There's some castings and bits down there and sawmill bits, things like that. Bolts and nuts in that one. There's a Dremel in the bottom. That's not really where it belongs. There's another 3D print job there that I've been messing around with. Yeah, there's a drawing on top there for the pump that's not neither use nor ornament. Ultrasonic. Thickness gauge there. There's a box of screws that really needs putting away. in the back there is a box of castings for the ellipse attachment for the lathe. That's really a job that I'd like to mess with and get going. That's something that is calling my name lately, but I need to get this done now. So I'm going to leave it there, but it is right there. It's a job that needs thread cutting, so before we do that, my promise to get that fixed. I think the main thing stopping me doing that is money. Anyway. Mark had a live stream last night. What was Mark? Had a tender going. Mark's been working on his tender. So you're going to need to put some new steel in that. That's all there is to it. So you're going to have to make some new parts. Good luck with that. It's not fun. I reckon roll up some pieces and then fabricate the corners. And yeah, I wouldn't like to tackle that, but you've got that ahead of you. Good luck with that, Mark. You got the tender sandblasted. Now, there's another thing happening that I can't talk about, and it's eating me up, but I can't talk about it, and I'm not going to talk about it. But there's a project pending that may or may not be a good thing, because the opportunity was there and the time frame's there, but there's more complicated things than that. So there's some secret squirrel stuff there. I don't know what's happening. But there is something that's going down that is not a very, there's not many of them left. And it's an accessory for the roller. Unfortunately, it's a fairly big accessory for the roller. It's got 4 wheels. It's loaded fairly heavy. It's fairly heavy when it's loaded. It needs quite a bit of work and quite a lot of steel work. And most of the main other bits are there. No, you can't say it. I'm not going there. We're not going to name them. If you name it, you've got to keep it. So there we go. Anyway, there's other jobs to do before that. But it can probably go down the bush somewhere with a tarp over it. There's not many around. I know of one other that I've ever seen pictures of even. And that's in the UK. I don't think I've ever seen another one. I've seen the same thing in a smaller version, or a smaller, the big one. I don't think I've ever seen another one in the real life, and I've certainly only ever seen pictures of one of them, which is part of the Steam Plough Club in Druridge, I think, in the UK. So I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I think it probably will. It's quite a distance away, so I'm going to find some cash to move it. And I'm going to have, unless someone wants to road trip with me, find a car trailer and do a road trip, but that's can end badly too. Don't know. We'll see. would be a very useful thing to have for road runs. Very useful thing. But in the meantime, got to get this back on the roller and finished and painted. There's some packing in the pump as well, and we should have a pretty decent water pump back on. This is superfluous. This one was really, I might get this valve finished and all done and then start and leave this for a bit and think about the bell at some point. Or we might get in and do it. These took, basically I'm about a day into this at the moment, including making the castings. Morning, James. I'm about a day into this, which is, if I actually did some work, that would be about where we are. I spent a day doing these castings. This one I finished in about 2 or 3 hours the other day. These ones here I've spent a couple of hours moulding them. This one I had no hope of actually coming out. I really didn't think that this one was going to survive. I'm fairly confident actually that this wasn't going to be any good. And we've got a pretty decent casting really. It won't quite clean up here I don't think, but it'll get very, very close. It's all nice and concentric and there's no sand knockout, no, it's all nice and square and it's all concentric and it's the right height and all that stuff. I'm pretty happy with that. But yeah, where I'm at is that I had every intention of probably doing this casting and maybe this casting now. Right? I thought if I got one of these done, and my thought was to get this done, I did this first. But if I get that one done, I've got something to go on with. But actually made a core, which saves quite a lot of brass and heat and stuff, and drilling. And basically the core just did a bit of nail and tube like that, right size. So you measure the mailing tube and then you make the pattern, which is not all that easy. It's not as simple as that because this has all got some shrink allowance on it. It's got 1.6% on it, right? So it shrinks down nice. But this has it because this has got to be the right size for the core. So you've got to work all that out. And inside the core is pretty much the same size as that. So the tube should slip straight on there. It doesn't, but should. So you mould half in each and you sit the core in it and some flour on it. Get rid of the moisture and stuff. And we poured it in the back here. You can see the gate went in here. And it poured really nice. Good job. So we got that one done. And then Foundry Man said in his wisdom, well, you've got time. You're going to round that up or you're not? You're going to do it? Better get in and do it. We work better under stress. Which I don't believe, but in about 10 minutes we ran this up. Sand wasn't too tight, which I think was probably the main thing, and we didn't turn it over, so the centre didn't fall out. Basically, we just pulled this out nice without too much dropping in. It wasn't too tight, so we didn't disturb anything around the edge. And then blew it out and floured it nice. So I don't think we even floured this one. And basically a flat top. And there was a gate on here, something like this, wherever it was, that the on both sides. And that's where we poured it in through there. So we had 3 good castings, which is 2 castings more than I was expecting to have. So we can move on with this. This thread, we've moved it down to 1.75 inches. It should have been 2 inches probably, but there's room in it to do it at 1.75 inches, and it'll be an easier thing to thread. There's less force required to put that on there, and it didn't quite clean up to 2 inches, so I think that'll be alright. So it's 1.75 inches. Pizza and chips in about 10 minutes. Sounds excellent. Sounds good. I'm going to jump in the car. I'm going to take this over to get into tack weld it tomorrow, so that on the weekend we can move into it. I've got 1,000 drills here on the bench that need putting away. If someone wants to come and sort out drills, that's fantastic. But I need to sit down for an hour at some point one night and go through and sort them out. That's just random, but it's something we need to do. Who else had a video this week? There's a video from Nigel at Go Create Hobby. There's a live from Mark. Who else had a video up that everyone saw? There's a new Itchy Boots video. She's in Turkey, leaving Turkey, or starting in Turkey. That was a very good video, if anyone's interested in that. Rust Knox video, yes. Enjoyed that too. There's a Bad Obsession motorsport video, which is the first one for about 2 years, but it looks like they've been busy. If you want a really crazy look at PCB prototyping and electronics in an automotive setting, probably you should go and watch that. There's Project Binky. There's a Winky's Workshop one. There was a Nobby's Workshop one. I'm building the number 3 PM research engine. It's probably also a Nobby's Workshop video about one of his Myford Boy engines too. I always like Nobby's videos. The Winky's Workshop one about the friction drive drill press. Bill thought of it, and that's half the battle. Dan's not here because Dan's away on holidays with his wife, and he probably needs to be a little bit attentive tonight because she's dragged her around Railway Museum all day. There was 2 videos from Mark Presling on restoring 2 Japanese tin cars. That's a video I should never have watched because there's serious jobs that I could do here in that particular vein, which I'm not going to. Put those things back on the shelf. But good videos from Mark. And there's another one to come, I think, finishing that off. I think restoring those cars is a bit of a job. Was there one from John this week? I don't think so. I didn't see it. Must be due for a new one soon. Appreciated, Peter. Here we go. That's that. To give you some idea of the size of this, while I'm thinking of it. Yeah, this pattern. There you go. That's a section of the whistle. So we set this up on here. Set this on here. Give you some sort of an idea how big this is. This starts about here somewhere with a gap and goes to about this tall. So fairly big whistle. Should be good. But that's basically the section. And I guess if we can get brass to run down through this, we can probably get brass to run down through this. But if this is open on one end, that makes it a much easier thing. We can just make 5 cores to sit in the sand here and one in the middle, and then sit the cover over the top and pour it down through the top, and hope like crazy that the brass runs all the way. That's simplified. It's not going to be the fun thing. My neck's going crunch. For something that started as a thought process, we're sort of halfway there. Get a tube plate on and a bolt in it, and the valve done. And then there's only one more component to do, so we can see how we go with that. But, yeah. Journeyman Randy, good day. Thanks for watching the video and leaving a comment. Much appreciated. Sorry about the poor audio. I've said that a few times, but the audio was terrible. I should have shot it with this mobile phone rather than with my GoPro, because the GoPro's really not my favourite thing. And the video software I've got's not really my favourite thing either. We might, if we make a few more of them, we might actually try a bit harder. Sorry. But that was sort of an afterthought, as you may have noticed. And I got it out last night, because if I don't get it out last night, it wasn't going to happen. And then my job's in the bench. There's this one as well. That's not on the roller yet. And the other one for the other side. I believe there to be another one available or on its way, which is the agent's plate. Goes on the other side of the roller, and it's a bit longer than that, about that size, but it's sort of that long. I've done the artwork, and Karen has it up there to actually cast one. It's going to be a fairly expensive plate, but they need motion covers on them, and now the roller's undercover, it might get things like that. Need 8 of these, which are the thumb nuts to hold them on, and quite a lot of brass on them. So it's all extruded brass, so it's not going to be cheap, any of it. Stuart got a copy of Machinery's Handbook. That's the end of him. Excuse me, guys. So anyway, that's where I'm at. That's the things that are happening on my bench. You've seen most of them twice now, so that's good. Probably with better audio this time, I would like to hope. But and some interaction. You guys all seem pretty sleepy too. I'm tired. I'm going to go across to Algester and drop this off tonight rather than do it in the morning as promised, and come home. Anyway, I'm out, guys. Take care. Be kind to each other. Thanks heaps. There is a video if you haven't seen it. It's bad, so it's probably hardly worth watching. But we'll put the next one up. It's good to have a record anyway. So, yeah, just rock out and rock on. Yeah, in pure Susie fashion. Be kind to each other, and especially to me, about my video audio. And more soon. Thanks, guys.